I'm going to talk to you about mental health and how to make it more accessible. First of all, I have a question to you. If you look at your everyday life, who is doing everything that you do in a way that you get energy from it? And could you please stand up if you say, yeah, what I do every day gives me energy? Stand up, please. Yeah, oh, quite a lot. Quite a lot. That's cool, yes. And does it mean that everybody who's not standing now doesn't get energy from the things they do every day? Is that so? Well, maybe I'll give you some tips that will help you today. All right. This is me. I thought I'd throw in some charm offensive to have a start with. This is me, and I was, I think, something like 3 years old or 4, I'm not sure. My big brother is standing next to me, but you don't see him, unfortunately. When I was young, I was a very vivid child. I was running around, always had initiative, had ideas. I would play theater with my friends and take them everywhere. I was very busy. My parents actually put a stick in the ground to keep me from walking out of the garden. And I had also another side. I had a very soft side. I loved to watch, at the skies, at the birds, at people. I loved to watch art, to listen to music. That was my soft side, so to say. So I had a hard, tough side and a soft side. When I went to school, this active side of mine was not really appreciated. I mean, my teachers, they felt I was annoying, I was asking all difficult questions and always meddling with people. I couldn't sit still, at the chair, and I was moving around. Still, it's a bit difficult for me to stand still here, too. And actually, so what happened is that the teachers, they started to disencourage that kind of behavior. And maybe all of you also recognize that you get disencouraged by a type of behavior that you had as a child. Who recognizes that? Well, at least half. Well, maybe more than half, I guess, right? Yeah. And how do you feel about it? Do you like that you get disencouraged by something that is truly you? No, not really. It sucks, right? Yes. I think it sucks too. Okay. Well, what happened? I mean, of course, I was a law-abiding child, so I was listening to the teachers and I was following their advices, So I calmed down. I braked myself, so I was getting calmer and calmer. And actually, that gave space to my warm, softer side. So I loved to stare out of the window when the teacher was giving a lecture. I was just not paying attention at all, So what happened was that actually, maybe I was limping. If this was my hard side and this was my soft side, maybe I was a bit limping through life like that. And if I'm honest, I think that break was so strong that it really withheld me. And actually, when I look back, I think it was quite a long time of my life I was quite depressed. I'm already at a certain age that most of the people, they didn't ask for psychological help, if you had some problem or some issue. Most people said, well, just grow over it. This is what life is about, But of course, now we live in different times. And when we look at how times are now, then I'm absolutely not alone. So I'm not the only one that had psychological problems. If you look in the Netherlands alone, let's say quarter, so like 26% of the people, last year, all of the adults, they had any kind of psychological problems. Can you imagine how much this is? That's a lot, right? And it goes even further because if you look at a lifetime of the adults in the Netherlands, then almost half of all the adults had psychological problems. Imagine that. So I think that's quite a big problem. The thing is also that there's a lot of stress being put on the people trying to deal with these problems and trying to help people. So the healthcare system is overstressed. There's many reasons for that. I'm not going into that. I only have 80 minutes. It's overstressed. There are a lot of people on waiting lists. There's something like 80,000 people on waiting lists at this moment in the Netherlands. When you talk about mental health, then there's one thing that's really key, and we call it resilience. Resilience is something, to really explain it really short, resilience is if something bad happens to you, it's your inner strength that helps you to fight yourself back. If something is being pushed you around, you you have the inner strength to fight back. And actually, that is the key where we're going to look at today. I'm going to talk about somebody who is actually sitting here somewhere. Where are you? Oh, you're there. That's Mieke Bogert. I met her in 2016, and she's a very special person. She was doing research by then. She researched world trends, and she discovered all kinds of interesting things. This is a map. You don't have to read all of it. It's very complex. The most important thing that she told me when I met her, and she also wrote a book about it, is that the world is getting more open, it's getting more connected, and it's getting more free. When I'm talking about openness, then it means that we have more possibilities to be confronted with different opinions. There's more space also to develop yourself in a way that is fitting yourself. When I talk about freedom, then we talk about if you have the will to undertake something, then we have more possibilities than ever to do so, and that's still growing. And when we talk about connectedness, then there was never a time when it was so easy to connect with somebody anywhere in the world. But, and maybe you recognize this as well, don't you think that also the opposite is very well true? I mean, don't you think that we live in a world of opposition, of egocentrism, and of detachment? So these two things, they are happening. And what is really a problem, and that is also something that we discussed with Mieke, when we talk about resilience, then it is really difficult to get yourself standing when the world is getting so complex. Because when you're looking for grip, if you're looking for grip to keep yourself standing, then you will find that the outside world is too shaky to find grip. I mean, if you want to have grip on your career, for example, or a relationship, or the place you live, or your work, everything is so changing nowadays that if those are the things you want to lean on, well, it will be difficult for you. So, that's what we do. We need to find grip in ourselves. And there is our journey going to lead. To find grip in yourself is really difficult. You know why? Because we never really learned to love who we are. So, for example, just as my story, but also other people. I mean, if you are born, for example, not as a running child, but as a very slow child, then the first thing you will learn is you have to move quicker, you know? If you're a very brainy child, then the things you learn is that, oh, but please do use your imagination or your emotions. If you're a very emotional child, then the people will teach you, please use your brain. So you will always learn something else than what you actually are. Who recognizes that? Yes? Good. Well, it's not half of this. I think there's more people, but that's all right. So to learn what makes you beautiful, to learn what you really want, what you really like, and to learn what gives you energy, that is something that we never learned. When I met Mieke, we conducted stories of conversations with people. But these were conversations, something like 300 of them. And these conversations, they took over 1 or 2 days per conversation. And these conversations, they were only about what makes you come out of bed in the morning, what do you like, what gives you energy, what makes you beautiful. If you go somewhere and you like it there, why is it so? If you go to another place, you don't like it, why is that? If you go to there, why do you like it there? So we ask on and on and on, only to find the beautiful things, so the diamond, so to say. So not what is your problem, where is your trauma, what is your, etc. Only looking for the beautiful things. And we actually discovered very beautiful things. So we discovered that just as in the story that I told you, that we have a hard side and a soft side, that everybody has it. Only for everybody it is different. So everybody has a different focus or a different core in their hard side and in their soft side. A core that gives them energy. A core that they cannot live without because they get drained if they cannot connect to that. these conversations, they were very therapeutical. So you can imagine that people, after a 2 days conversation with Mika or me, well, mostly Mika, I have to say, they change their lives. They change their lives for the better. We get feedback that's, oh my God, I feel so much stronger, or I dare to make the change I wanted to do in my life. This was very, very, very important to pursue, but we also realized that if we would drive against a tree, who's going to conduct these conversations? And if we are living in an overstressed situation where healthcare doesn't have 1 hour a week, to help somebody, how are we going to do that? So we were going back to the drawing board, and we started to design. And it turned out that we had to invent new ways of asking questions. Asking questions that nobody ever asked anybody before. And these questions, they're quite bizarre questions, I think. But I will give you some examples. First of all, you have to all try to imagine that you're living in an ideal world. So it means there are only nice people. Everybody thinks that whatever you do, that's cool, Everybody's healthy, everybody's money on the bank. You don't have to do anything that you don't like because, well, I will do it for you. So you're completely free. If you want to jump in the sky or you want to sing a song right now, everybody will love it. So you're completely free and safe. And in that situation, I can ask you all kinds of questions, what you would like if you were in this ideal situation. So, for example, in this ideal world, would you get more energy from helping others or from empathizing with others? And I'm going to help you a little bit. How would you feel that everybody helps each other, but nobody empathizes? Or how would you feel if everybody empathizes with each other, but nobody helps each other? Okay, so who chooses helping? Can you please stand? So you choose for helping without empathizing, right? So for you, that's the ideal world. Super. And who would choose empathize? Please stand. Don't you agree that asking a question like this really puts you back to yourself because you don't have any example of how you should choose it, right? I mean, there's nobody that said, hey, helping is better than empathizing, right? So you really have to dig into yourself and find out what you feel yourself. Okay, I will do one other to give you the idea. So imagine you're in the ideal world, you can do whatever you want, and what gives you the most energy? Would it be to freely play around, or would it be to discover things? So, who chooses for freely playing around? Could you please stand? Yeah, I can agree. Okay, and who chooses for the other one, discovering things? Super cool. Very nice. Okay. When we found out that these questions, they had a certain effect on people, but what we did is that every question will be followed by another question that digs into that. So we made actually funnels with questions like these, which lead you directly to one of the two cores inside you. So you find two cores that give you the most energy. And what we did is that when we had it finished, I'm not going to tell you that's so long, it was a year-long process. But when you find the end point, then it really does something with you. And with all the 300 people that we had this conversation, we asked all these questions and we put them through the funnel, and actually it turned out they came exactly at the same point. It took a while before we were there, I have to say. Okay. And then something else happened, because through some really funny coincidence, we were playing a card game, and we thought, well, we can put these questions on a card game, right? So then the game was born, our core strength game, we call it. So it turned out that this game actually has a severe positive effect on resilience of people. So you play a game, it takes half an hour, it takes an hour, and you get positive effect. Okay, now here comes a spoiler. Maybe you didn't expect this one, but we are actually not psychologists, we're designers. and which is really strange because, well, talking about resilience and questions and processes like this, the cool thing about nowadays is that you can really cooperate with organizations and they're open to people with good ideas. So that's something we could take profit from. We work together, among others, with the Fontes, University of Applied Psychology, and we have very good cooperation with them. So students come and they test what we invent, actually. They test effects, they validate things we do, and they really help us grow this concept. All right. I want to share one research with you that's, I think, a very important one. We played the game with people with light to mild depression, and here you can actually see that the people with the game, even after 5 weeks, still have a higher resilience than the people who didn't play the game, and that's a significant effect. So actually, when we're going back to the first question, so how can you make mental health care more accessible? Then, well, maybe just by playing a game, right? The cool thing is that these games can be played by people that don't even have a psychological skill set. I mean, they can be played with normal people, with each other. So we think it has a very big potential, and I would also really like to ask people who are from the field of psychology to knock at our door and to see if we can somehow cooperate. Right. One thing I learned in this process is that I think it's really important that everybody who has a dream, please remember that you can always find other people with special skills that can help you. So don't think that you're too small or not significant enough or not clever enough or skilled enough. There's always people who like to help you if you have a great idea or if you're just passionate about something. So that also means that you don't need diplomas always, you know? Just a good idea, that would help. And I think the most important thing I also want to share with you when it's about energy, please remember that nobody gets energy from doing nothing. Nobody gets energy from watching Netflix. You get energy when you put your love, your passion, and your energy into something that is really important for you. And you move things into the direction that's good for you. So I really want to share with you, please put your energy to the right direction and make things flourish, so to say. I would really like to thank you.